What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Me and the Moron Podcast, where one of us makes sense and the other one, well, tries his best. I'm your host, Me, and as always, I'm joined by the man, the myth, the reason we have a parental advisory label, Big Sexy. How you doing?
Good evening, you fuckers.
Hey, how are things down on the Gulf of Americana?
Just lovely. Lovely. I wish I could get out. I live on the beach. I haven't seen it in about a month. Been doing this remodel in here, painting and fixing. I haven't left the place in God knows how long.
That's probably better because by the looks of your T-shirt, I don't know, for those of you not watching.
Oh, let me let you people get a better look. My shirt says, I like long walks on the beach after anal.
There you go.
But be assured it's mostly giving.
And is in case there's mostly giving, sometimes getting.
I was a sailor. It's all right.
And what a great weekend for the Trump administration, where they're tearing down walls faster than the mob on January 6th, ignoring checks and balances that our founders created to protect us from this very moment. This week, freedom speech warrior President Donald Trump barred the Associated Press from the Oval Office and Air Force One due to AP's refusal to adopt the administration's renaming of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. The action has sparked significant debate over press freedom and governmental overreach. What do you think?
I agree with him 100%. The same people crying are the same people who are offended by pancake syrup. So these are the same jerk-offs that needed to name like army bases Camp Joy and, Camp Whisper Words. So we'll call it the fucking Gulf of America from this point forward. The same people offended, left, they changed pancake syrup and Uncle Ben's rice, but they left every white dude on a KFC bucket. I go, it's unbelievable, but they're offended now by these words. The hypocrisy knows no bounds, none whatsoever.
So what do you think about, last week we talked about he kicked out the New York Times, NBC News, like Politico, legit news organizations, now the AP, which is respected around the world. What are the broader implications for press freedom here? Like he's setting like such a horrible precedent.
Well, I think what he's doing is trying to force them to report the news correctly, not with a leftist swing on it. You're either going to report it correctly or you're not going to report it at all.
Well, but two maps for the whole rest of the world, they're still seeing Gulf of Mexico.
Right, but in America, we see Gulf of America, as it should be. I live there. I know all about it. I live on it. And until you return that black woman on the pancake syrup bottle, you guys have nothing to complain about.
Okay, all right. So this week, new U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, abusive alcoholic and rapist, allegedly,
like every member of Congress and Senate,
made significant statements regarding the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia, signaling a notable shift in U.S. foreign policy where we just go sit on Putin's lap and he rubs our belly and we just say whatever he wants. Basically, before the negotiations even started, he says he's abandoning the pre-war borders. He says NATO is off the table for Ukraine.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the final say in that. If NATO is off the table for Ukraine, he's not the sole, participant in NATO.
Agree, but why are you negotiating backwards? Like, why are you saying these statements like Putin's already won the negotiation?
Let me ask you this. But here's the problem. Had he done the same thing and was pro-Ukraine, people would be like, oh my God, up in arms, like he's taking sides with Ukraine.
He should take sides with Ukraine. They were the ones being invaded.
Yeah, but we've given them $170 billion in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You've done nothing with it. You haven't bought weapons with it. You can't tell us where $100 billion of it went. You blew it. We were on your side. Now you can go fuck yourself.
No. He got that money. We didn't just ship them cases of cash. They bought half of that money was allocated to buy our own weapons that were in storage.
But their own president says he didn't use it allocated for the weapons it was supposed to go for, and that he didn't receive 2/3 of what the U.S. claims we sent him. We tried to help you. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. As far as an American citizen goes, my tax dollars went to try to help you. You didn't receive it, then you're fucked. I don't know what to tell you.
Now we have Trump today, a press conference, sitting on Putin's lap, just like a puppet for him. Blaming Ukraine for the conflict, questioning Ukraine.
Ever call Biden a China puppet? Ever?
You thought he was a China puppet?
Oh, 100%.
I think he was
100%.
pretty. I think he was pretty tough on China.
I think he was completely lenient on China, allowing his son to do business for him in China. I mean, every president kisses some foreign dignitary's ass in some way or another. I mean, I look at it this way. Which country can we do more business with? Which country can help us make more money? Russia or the Ukraine? I'll go with the country that makes us more money, period.
We can't, Putin is such a motherfucker. Like how it's like him, Kim Jong-un, President Xi in China, like these are the worst people on earth. Why would we ever team up with them?
But we continue to do it. Biden did business with China for the last 25 years, long before he was even president. When he was the vice president, the whole thing with Hunter and the business, opening businesses in China. I mean, this has been going on don't tell me you think this is new.
Listen, Biden Jr. sold a couple of pieces of art that were very lovely.
And a lot of blow.
They were very lovely pieces of art. They were probably worth they probably were stolen price-wise.
He was painting them while he was banging his brother's wife and snorting a line off of her.
Legend. Guy's a fucking legend.
But Trump's not. Trump did the same thing. He's a fucking animal.
Scumbag.
He's an animal.
Why is Trump administration excluding Ukraine from these negotiations? Like, Marco fucking Rubio is in these negotiations. Explain this to me.
Well, he should be. He's the Secretary of State.
But the Ukraine's not in there. It's their war.
Well, you know what? Then fight your own war. Why are we funding their war? Why are we funding their war? It's the same thing. Like I'm reading a lot of things on like X and on TikTok and shit about the argument about now Europe hates us. Good, fuck Europe. We're done defending all these pussy countries. Go fucking defend yourself. Like, oh, Spain hates us. Oh, you're a fucking real help. Like you and your one plane we're afraid of. Like, go fuck yourself. I don't care anymore. Like, fuck Europe, fuck Canada, and fuck anybody that doesn't like the U.S. You don't like Trump, go fuck yourself. That's his attitude. You don't like me, go fuck yourself. We're America. We're better than you. Kind of like you in Connecticut. And it's the truth. I'm sick of catering to these pussy fucking countries. People from Canada complaining about the U.S. Meanwhile, we fucking defend you from everybody in the world. If somebody attacked Canada, they couldn't fucking defend themselves from 2 sticks and a rock.
Hey?
They need us. But meanwhile, we're the bad guy. Get the fuck out of here. Go defend yourself. Spain, Europe, Italy, Greece, all of you can go fuck yourself.
You're supposed to. We're the beacon of democracy. And honestly, still a lot of the world looks up to America until probably a couple weeks ago when Trump took office. But
which is great. Bye-bye. Go defend yourself. Use your own money.
It's like in school. When you're the big, strong guy, you got to defend the weaker kids getting picked on.
We're going to touch on that about my campaign to bring back bullying. I'm going to save this country if it's the last thing I do.
Is there a website that the kids...
I'm going to try to start it, but because fucking leftist bowls of warm pudding run most of these social sites, you're not allowed to say anything harmful because apparently words can assault people.
Well,
now. We live in a time when words could physically hospitalize you.
You say that, but Trump is the one banning the press for saying things. Like, did the Gulf of Mexico, did saying that hurt him? Point to where on the map to where it hurt him.
Well, point to on the map where if I tell somebody that you're a fucking moron on social media, I get kicked off because words brutalize people.
Well, that's your boy Musk and Zuckerberg.
They can go fuck themselves too. I want to say what I want. I want to bring back America.
Elon,
bring back bullying.
As much as Elon cries about free speech, like he kicks off people off of Twitter all the time.
Twitter has been awesome lately, or X, whatever the fuck it's called now, but X. But you can literally, dude, the things I say on there, you could say anything now to people. Literally. I told some lady the other day, was arguing politics with her. I told her that her mother was a rotting corpse, but that the maggots were having sex with her underground. And nobody said anything. I'm like, this is glorious. I can just say anything I want.
Well, I think you're really highlighting the great points of social media that have turned our country into this complete shit show.
But you know what? But let me tell you something. On that topic, and I'm sorry, guys, I have to rant about this, and this has been going on now for, it's got to be close to 20 years. Probably started like right around my youngest one, that generation, and he's 28 years old, where these kids in this country today have gotten way too, Mike Tyson said it the best, they've gotten way too comfortable sitting behind a computer telling you to go fuck yourself, or calling you a pussy, or knowing that you can't show up at their door and punch them in the face. I come from a time when somebody called you a pussy, I'd literally go knock on their door and punch them in the face in front of their father. And if he said something, I'd punch him in the face too. And then it was settled, and that was it. We're living in a generation where these kids can't make a phone call. They're like, I have to talk to someone. I don't want to talk. I have anxiety already just thinking about getting on the phone. But meanwhile, they're typing on the phone about like what they'll do to you. And you wouldn't make eye contact with me if we were face to face. You wouldn't make eye contact with me. I'd slap the taste buds out of your mouth. Cliff, working at fucking, he talks like, can I take your order? And he's on 7 different anxiety meds because nobody ever sent him outside. Parents organized who he fucking plays with. Beverages are provided by the parents when they bring kids over. Like, we were told, get the fuck out of the house. We weren't allowed in the house growing up. We were not allowed in the house. My mother would say, be home when the lights come on. Get out. Our parents didn't even know where we were. You had a fight with a kid in school. You went home. You know what your parents said? Did you win? Did he get beat up too? You know, you had a bruise. Does he have a black eye too? That was it. Today, you got lawyers, guidance counselors. You got to sit at the table with both sets of parents and discuss why little Billy got hung by the fence by his underwear and why little, Clifford was shoved in his locker in school. Because that's the fucking natural order of things. That's why. That's what these parents need to hear. And I blame this on this whole leftist movement of everybody's got to be nicer and words heard. And words don't fucking hurt anybody. It comes from a time when sticks and stones could break your bones, but words could never hurt you. Suddenly today, words are the most harmful thing. I mean, we got fucking campuses that have designated areas that are safe from words. This is the world we live in. They're safe from words. You can go in this space and not have to hear anybody, Buford. Like, are you fucking kidding me? What world do we live in? This was all created, and I think it was, the kids who were bullied in high school and in middle school and whatever, grew up to become these fucking parents who are, no, not my son. My son's going to be included too. Like, your son played hockey, my kids wrestled, played football. Like, lady, your kid can't tie his own shoes, but you want him to play on the baseball team. When we were kids, listen, your kid's just not good enough. And we turned out okay. We had jobs, we got pensions, we owned homes. These kids all have fucking therapists. They're all on meds, and they're all shooting up fucking schools and movie theaters. I mean, this is all parenting, and I blame the left. I do. I blame this new mentality of gentle parenting. Gentle parenting. How about smack the fuck out of that kid and guarantee he doesn't talk back to you anymore? Guaranteed. Get these kids today telling their parents they're stupid, shut up, go inside, get me a sandwich. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. My father just looked across the dinner table, and if he stared at you for more than 10 seconds, run. Literally run. I don't get it. And when this started with play dates and the parents had to come over and they're at, do you have any weapons in your home that I should be aware of? Are you fucking kidding me? What world do we live in? How about just go outside and play?
I think a lot of that has to do with the world is just too crowded and dangerous, and there's too many sick bastards out there that as parents, my son's 18, so I was guilty of this too. Like, he went around and walked around his town, a little bit, but when he was older, but it's tough. We drove him everywhere. You can't even walk.
You know what? You just said we drove him everywhere. I'm actually laughing. I just read an article and I was showing it to Ellen about kids living on the same street as their school, being driven to school. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
In my day,
not once, literally, did my mother ever get up and drive me anywhere, much less school. Like, oh, my friend lives 6 miles away. My mother was like, and what's your point? I'm not driving you anywhere. Like, I don't, that's bizarre to me. If you could see the school from your house, your parents are fucking driving you. Then we wonder, as parents, grandparents, we wonder, what's wrong with these kids? Why can't they get a job? Why are they so shy? They don't even talk to people. They don't. Well, you've created this. No longer do they play. They sit in front of, my youngest one, I was guilty of this, that they would have a friend come over after school, say like 3:30, whatever time, and they would sit in front of the computer screen, not say a word to each other, with 2 controllers, play this game. Then the other parent would show up at 5 o'clock or 5:30 and say, all right, the 2 kids didn't say a word to each other the entire time. They just played a video game and then left. And we wonder why they have no social skills. No social skills at all.
We did that. Young, adolescent boys, they're falling behind in education. They're less likely to graduate from high school, attend college, or compete in higher education compared to their female counterpoints. That's a big change in our society. College campuses are now 60% female, which is
And let me ask you, where do you stand? Because I argue about, me, I argue with anybody about anything, but I argue with people all the time about enough with this being shoved down our throat where every kid's got to go to college. I was in a nursing program in college about 10 years back, or my ex-wife got sick. She had cancer. I ended up dropping out to take care of her. But at the time, and you and I had spoke about this, I got in trouble by a professor who was telling me, like, you can't shake your head or make noise or under your breath or complain because a kid can't read. And I'm going, this is English class in college. We're in fucking college, and there's a kid in this class who can't read. How the fuck did he get out of high school? You know why? Because we've lowered the bar. Oh, little Timmy, you can't pass this test? We'll change the test so that you can pass it. Because teachers are the bad guys, not the kid. There's no such thing as a stupid kid anymore, just bad teachers. Long gone are the days where kids just not fucking smart. Maybe your kid's just stupid. The world will always need ditch diggers and garbage men. Sorry, Pat.
Well, Pat's a dear friend of Tony's and mine. So I think that happened around when I was in high school, is like at the turning point of the stigma against the trades. And for years, in those years especially, I remember feeling it because I was not a great student. I hated it. Thank God I found music. But guidance counselors and the education system pushed the idea that success only meant a 4-year degree, and that if you were doing BOCES or a trade, that you were a complete idiot.
Right. And now the trades are booming. I mean, why not bring back BOCES? Why not, Mike Rowe from the Dirty Jobs? And I saw, he also has a podcast, and I watched an episode, and he was talking about how, like, we've made entire generations of kids now believe that that's beneath them, that auto mechanics, welding, carpentry, like that's beneath them. Meanwhile, you got these kids are $200,000 in debt. They're on social media telling you they're smarter than you because they have a degree. Meanwhile, it's a fucking liberal arts degree, and you're working at fucking Home Depot at the register because you can't get a job in your $200,000 basket weaving degree. Like every kid goes to school, they got degrees in the biggest bullshit you've ever heard, where there's no field for it, there's no jobs for it, but somehow they're smarter than us simply because they sat in a classroom. Like they couldn't outsmart me, if they tried, a group of them. Street smarts goes a long way, and these kids are so brainwashed into believing, like, just because they went to college for something, no matter what it is, they're smarter than you. Like, I went to school and you didn't. Really? Well, I own a $1 million place on the Gulf of America, and you're living in your mom's basement, $200,000 in debt. So I don't get where that happened too. Not every kid is made to go to school, but you can't tell parents that. Like, listen, the kid is not passing the test. You know what they do? They get another teacher. The kid still can't pass the test. You know what they do? They take him in a separate room and they alter the test so that he can pass. We just lower the bar. That's all. That's why America is failing. We just keep lowering the bar for inept kids.
And it's trickled down now. So right now we have kids that aren't going to college. They're dropping out of high school. Girls are becoming more successful, right? Then they want to date people that are their equal or better. So now these kids are at home. They're single. They're isolated from, they don't have the friends. Everybody's isolated now on these phones. And then it's easy to radicalize them online. And then they become absolutely crazy. And it's just, it's not good for anybody.
No, it's gone like so bizarre. I really, like, every kid has to go to college. And there's just, unfortunately, there's people in this world whose IQ just isn't that high, and they don't deserve to go to college. When we were younger, you went to college, you were either one of two things. You graduated in the top 10% in your class in high school, or your family was extremely wealthy. Anybody else, you went to work. You just got a job out of high school, and that was it. Like you and I, you picked up a hammer and you learned how to, to do something. But these kids today, and they're all taking classes online. Like, nobody actually goes to school. So there's no interaction. You got like 24-year-old people who still ask their parents, like, can you go into 7-Eleven for me? I'll sit in the car. Like, they don't want to talk to anybody, see anybody. They're afraid of everybody. It's bizarre to me.
Well, it's the cult, the society we're building now. At stores, they don't want you to check out in front of a cashier anymore. They're trying to erase that. Everything's becoming not social. every
It
aspect.
really is. You and I were talking earlier about how, and this makes my blood boil. Like, I've heard for 8 years, since Trump was running in 2016, even longer now. So if you're on the left, people who are your own countrymen, Americans, but if they're from red states or they're from the South, they're white trash, they're poor, they're useless, they're worthless. But illegals coming into blue states, these poor people, we have to help them. We have to provide them with things. We don't want to help our own citizens who are poor because they don't vote the same way we do. But we'll help illegals using those poor people's tax dollars. I mean, to me, the hypocrisy is so unbelievable that I have to laugh at them when they try to make that argument. Like, you'll use the poor guy from Alabama's tax dollars to house an illegal criminal in your country, but yet you hate that guy from Alabama because he didn't vote the same way you did.
Well, let's be clear. Blue states subsidize red states. There are no tax dollars.
And red states' tax dollars subsidize the illegals that you guys are housing in blue
Trust
states.
me, Alabama's not sending New York City money.
So people from Alabama don't pay taxes?
They pay far less taxes than us, and their state takes money from the federal government, not receive.
but so their tax dollars weren't part of that $59 million just sent to New York to house illegals in hotels?
I'm sure it was mostly New York money and California money.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
I'm almost positive.
It's tax dollars.
It's
tax
not.
dollars.
It's funny how Republicans and red states want to whitewash the whole tax system like everybody's been contributing equally. Blue states have been paying the way for this country and for red states for
That's not true at all.
Very long time.
That's not true at all.
Look up the highest revenue generating states for the United States of America. Promise you they're all blue.
And are those also the same states that house the most illegal criminals?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you justified that. With American tax dollars.
The ones that we create. Yeah. Those are the
American tax dollars.
Yeah. The ones that we create.
Everybody that works on the books, regardless of what state they're from, pays.
Yes.
Right. So,
yeah.
Again,
so the guy working at the Piggly Wiggly in Alabama for $7.25 an hour. Yeah. Right. Thank you for your 13 cents.
Or the chick working in Wine Dance in New York who's making, at 7-Eleven working at, making $12 an hour.
I don't go to Wine Dance. I'm from Connecticut. No,
he's better than everyone.
He's better than everyone. Just so you know, I don't even look at it on the map.
But, and to that, I say most of the leftist people that I know, most of my friends on the left, let's just call them communists, live in the wealthiest states in the country. Yet they're the first people who are on social media, marching for everybody, marching for every poor person's cause. Yet they live in the wealthiest 100% white towns in the United States. Literally, not one of them lives in a town with the people they pretend to support on social media because it's popular. Nor has a single one of my friends on the left housed an illegal. Not one. Not one is taken in. Like, you have a tremendous house. You could house a small family of 6. Provide them health insurance. Why are you not? You're for them.
These rooms are taken. I have a lot of friends. The dogs have a room each there. Yes.
So, but it's just funny. The people that are the most vocal, at least that I know, that are so adamant about like these illegals' rights and everything. I always say, well, why don't we start a movement called You First? You First. You do it. You take them in, you house them and take care of them first. We'll see how that works. And then if it works, then we'll follow suit. But you first. And
on that note, ticket, I like that.
And on that note, I'm trying to get people to join me. I'm trying to start a campaign to bring back bullying. I think it's the natural order of things. That's what's wrong with today. There's no bullying. Years ago, bullying set the natural order of things. It does in the wild with every other creature. The stronger lion wins. He now controls the pack. Used to be, you got bullied by a kid in school. Your parents told you to stand up to him. You didn't stand up to him, then you deserve to get bullied. And it was that simple. Now, you say a harsh word to somebody, 85 people step in, you're banned from certain sites. Or cyberbullying. So you typed mean words and now you have law enforcement officers at your door. Like, this has gone so asinine, it's unbelievable. We need to bring back bullying. If you say something bad to me and I punch you in the mouth, and we're disagreeing and you say something I don't like, and I punch you in the mouth and you don't do anything and lay on the floor and bleed on yourself, I win the argument. That's the way it was for hundreds of years. That's the way it should still be. Yeah. If you're bleeding and I'm still standing, I win the argument. So join me in trying to start a foundation of bringing back bullying.
There you go. There you go, Mike. I can't be on the board of that, I assume.
Well, you can. You've watched me bully people.
Yes. One last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up. The events underscore potential dangers of the impulsive decision-making from the Trump White House. There are reports that highlighted significant missteps by the Trump administration, particularly involving, look how good I'm reading, the abrupt firing of and rehiring.
And you didn't even have to go to college for that.
Of critical personnel within the National Nuclear Security Administration, also known as NNSA. So they fired 350 employees responsible for overseeing the nation's nuclear weapons stockpile. They were abruptly terminated. Many discovered of their dismissal upon being locked out of their offices. Then chaos ensued, and I think Congress flipped out a little bit, and there was a buzz, and then they tried to reverse all the firings.
Well, and then on that, how do you feel about I'm hearing a lot of people saying Musk doesn't have the right to give us advice on anything. He's not an elected official. And to that, I say, neither was Dr. Fauci, was not an elected official. People were fired from their federal jobs if they didn't take the shot that a non-elected official said we had to take. Then people were fired, and nobody on the left was up in arms over it. When federal employees lost their jobs because a guy who was not elected told us we had to take a shot. And if you didn't take his shot, you couldn't come to work. So until they're screaming about that, I don't want to hear anybody telling me that Elon wasn't elected and he can't fire people. Well, neither was your beloved Dr. Fauci, who killed millions of people with his fake vaccines.
Or saved millions of people with his real vaccine.
Athletes dropping dead. You know, the great thing about being a conspiracy theorist is not having myocarditis. And on that note, folks.
My God.
But it's true. All I keep hearing is nobody elected him. Well, nobody elected Dr. Fauci either. But yet millions and millions of people had to stand in line like sheep and do what he said. So until I see those same people complaining, then I don't want to hear it about Musk not being elected. Too bad. Try winning an election.
Well, we're certainly going to. The midterms, I really think, are going to be a bloodbath. The funny thing about Elon, another problem with it is his mass firing people from agencies that were investigating many of his companies, and maybe going to bring up charges against his companies. And now he's just annihilating those departments that were investigating him.
I think we're going to see, and I think it's going to be both sides, because I'm seeing more and more Republican politicians too that are now joining this terrified list of they want him to stop kicking down doors and opening books on everybody. I think that we're going to see the entire American population's jaw is going to be open, and we're going to see so many politicians exposed to corrupt pocket lining with our tax dollars. I mean, they're already funding. I wanted to tell you, did you see this? Maybe we could touch base on it on the next episode about the Social Security payments. Have you read this?
Yeah, I saw this, but it can't be true. They just have to be outdated facts and of stale accounts.
This is still in the Social Security database. According to Social Security, there's still people that are 300 years old receiving Social Security benefits. What is going on?
They can't be receiving them. That can't be real.
Well, I have a picture I took of the actual data that was pulled from the Social Security.
Yeah, but this is Twitter info.
Well, no, this is Social Security database. According to them, these are not payments. These are the amount of Americans in this country. There are 695 Americans between the age of 190 and 199.
Yeah, they're probably just stale accounts that are just haven't been deleted from the systems.
But when we see things like that, that tells me just how badly this entire country is mismanaged. And I want it all turned over. It is
mismanaged. I'm sure there is, but I don't think they're going to find the massive fraud sweeping things. So this is going to be fraud everywhere you can turn, but I don't think you're going to see it.
In what is it, a month, right? He's in office roughly. I mean, we're already talking about hundreds of billions of dollars of misallocated money we've already found. And that was an accident. Oh, well, whoops-a-daisy. If you ever saw Gangs of New York when Daniel Day-Lewis was whoopsie-daisy after he killed the guy, it's unbelievable.
No, he's not. It's the numbers that you're saying, just because he's wiping out Just because he found a couple of condoms purchased, he's saying all of U.S. aid was bad.
No, not all of it, but some of it was beyond asinine, like $7 million to provide condoms in the Middle East. Why are we paying for some other country's fucking condoms? Like, what is going on?
Spread a disease that we'd have to pay to clean up. It's probably a whole thing. I don't know. We got to ask Dr. Fauci. We're going to have him on.
I mean, if they could, just think about the lives, how many mosquitoes' lives we could save, in South Africa if they came up with
7 billion
cures.
Compared to our total budget is like, it's nothing.
No, and we're just starting. We're already several billion in misallocated, misused, lost. I mean, if they did this from now for like 4 years straight, you're probably talking $1 trillion of our money that's been misused and misappropriated.
You want to know where to look? It's the military. Do you want to find savings?
Dude, I was in the military, and I remember one time working in the AD shop, which was the aviation mechanic shop, and I happened to see an invoice, and this was a Craftsman tool that you could walk into any Home Depot and get. It was like an adjustable wrench. Craftsman was $1,200. $1,200 for a wrench, an adjustable wrench. Like, they're paying unbelievable because you have to spend it all or you don't get it the following year. Yeah. So you have to show cause to why you need more money next year and more the next year. It's absolutely insane.
Yep.
Absolutely insane.
Well, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you listen and follow and like us and tell your friends. We need a bigger audience every week, and we'll keep doing it for you. If we grow, we'll just keep doing it. That's all.
Absolutely. Like us, follow us, and do yourself a favor. Give yourself a treat. Find a kid with a clubbed foot and bully him. You'll see how good you feel about yourself. Park in a handicapped spot and jog into the store in front of an old person.
Have a great week,
everybody. About yourself.
Have a good week, everybody.
God bless America.